All right, you guys know how it works. We're going to do questions for a couple hours here. If I really like your answer, you get a hat. We'll be signing hats as well, and God bless you guys. We're going to have a great time. Thank you. Okay, hello, yes.
Hello, my name is Yardo. I have a small YouTube channel. I'm a political commentator as well, much smaller than you are. I just wanted to thank everybody at Turning Point USA, USD for having this debate. And also I would thank the Turning Point USA, San Diego State, because they gave a voice to one of my dear friends who was a victim at the October 7th Nova Music Festival, and his name is Muzai. I really appreciate that you guys did that, and you have my sincere gratitude. I'd also like to quickly state that this is a message for the far left first, and then we'll get into what I highly disagree with you about. But I just read Hassan Piker's New York Times article where he claims that he did not stifle free speech in his chat. I do not believe that's true because I was banned multiple times for having a simple disagreement with him. That is one thing on the right that you guys do far better, is not creating echo chambers, and this is a complete amazing thing that you guys are doing right now. And I just want to let you know, right now, Hassan Piker, I will donate $5,000 to Palestine if you debate me. Now, and I 100% mean that, and I will make sure that that is as public as possible. My question for you, Charlie, is I just want to make it clear, I am against affirmative action. Of course, I do not believe, as a disabled person myself, I do not believe that affirmative action is the entirety of what DEI entails. That being said, I would be fine with DEI gotten rid of if it meant a true meritocracy in the United States. But why would I trust Donald Trump to create a meritocracy when he himself has appointed the least accomplished and the least, essentially, yeah, perfect word, the least accomplished cabinet in U.S. history, at least in my opinion. If you disagree, I can explain why I feel that way.
Well, first of all, one thing doesn't have to do with the other, but I'm going to reject the premise that it's the least qualified cabinet ever, so we could talk about that. But even if it was just Donald Trump picking his family members, it has nothing to do with the merits of DEI or getting rid of DEI, right? So that's a red herring. They actually have nothing one to do with the other. One's a repeal of a policy. One is your critique of a cabinet. So which one would you rather debate? Would you rather debate DEI and all of its implications or Trump's cabinet? It seems like you have more problems with Trump's cabinet because we actually might be on the same side of meritocracy. So want to talk about the cabinet? Whichever you prefer.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Right.
I personally don't see it as a red herring, but we can talk about that.
Well,
sure.
yeah, one doesn't have anything to do with the other, right? I mean, you can personally have hypocrisy in your own life and still do really good things in policy, right? It doesn't necessarily equate, right?
Well, I mean, in the way that I see it is that when a lot of people talk about, like when they're talking about their choice to vote for Kamala or Trump instead of Kamala, they talk about the personal aspects of Donald Trump that make them want to trust him, right? A lot of people trust him. You can see the way that people look. I mean, everybody's wearing the MAGA hats. People trust him. Why would I trust him?
Okay. So, yeah, that is your contention. So
yeah.
What about his cabinet is unqualified? Let me just ask you a couple examples. So, I mean, Scott Bessent, who's one of the most accomplished bond salesmen and individuals in the hedge fund space ever, right? That's not unqualified. Pete Hegseth, who's actually a frontline warfighter, unlike Lloyd Austin, who never fought a war in his life, right? We have Kristi Noem, who was an accomplished congresswoman and governor from a major state running Department of Homeland Security. You have Howard Lutnick, who's a very famous and well-known financial mind and titan from Wall Street running Cantor Fitzgerald. Marco Rubio, who was a very well-respected U.S. Senator on Foreign Affairs, who's now doing a great job as Secretary of State. So build out your argument why you think this cabinet is unqualified. Seems to me very, very qualified, actually, across the board.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start with, I mean, this is the most obvious one, and I have many other examples that I'd like to get into, but Pete Hegseth, you mentioned, I think that is kind of, I don't really understand why you would mention somebody that leaked war chats to a liberal journalist. To me, that doesn't seem like the kind of person that I would want to be.
Well, hold on, time out. He did not leak it. First of all,
he added the person.
The person
to the
who
chat.
actually is responsible was just removed as national security advisor today.
Oh, you mean the person who was the fall guy for Pete Hegseth's problem?
No, he added somebody without his knowledge. But fine.
Okay, so why wouldn't he see him? Why wouldn't he see the person who's in the chat before talking about war policy?
So, time out. Just so we're clear, I'm sure you've been added to group chats with 30 or 40 people sometimes, and you enter in with trust that every acronym is actually a government official. Obviously, that will not happen again. Just so we're clear, Signal was an approved chat by the Biden administration. It's an approved secure channel by
I'm not talking shit
government.
on Signal.
However, time out. Let me ask a question about Pete Hegseth. Would you rather have a warfighter or a bureaucrat run the United States military?
I would rather have somebody that doesn't have a history of alcoholism. I'd rather have somebody that, I mean, realistically.
Wow. So do you think how about Mark Milley and Lloyd Austin, were they better at running the U.S. military than Pete Hegseth?
I mean, I think you're going to probably start talking about how there's higher enlistment numbers.
Yeah,
under
not only
Pete
that.
Hegseth.
So recruitment in the military is up majorly. Thank you, Pete Hegseth. He's doing a pretty good job. Number 2, procurement. We're saving money. Estimates are that we'll save hundreds of billions of dollars in efficiency. War games are up. The amount of war games we're doing in the Southeast Pacific has increased by 30%. This is a military town here in San Diego. They have a massive increase in people wanting to join the Navy, want to join the military. That wasn't happening under Biden. Morale is actually 30 points higher now that Pete Hegseth, a warfighter's warfighter, is running the U.S. military.
We have a complete difference. We're never going to agree on this.
No, but no, not agree, but show me, then prove the evidence. What is one number that is worse with the U.S. military now that Pete Hegseth's in control?
The numbers that you're talking about are numbers that I actually actively do not care about, because I think that we have an overly powerful military, and I think too much of our money goes to the military.
No, I know, but tell me one thing he's done, numerically, empirically, judge his performance, right? What is one thing that you could say, wow, the Pentagon is in a worst place because of Pete Hegseth?
I would say his inconsistent foreign policy, where he backs on statements depending on whether or not Donald Trump has heard them or not. Like in the beginning, we were talking about what happened with Ukraine and Russia. Like, they've had disagreements already within the first couple months of the administration.
What? But first of all, the president is the commander-in-chief, so he executes the running of the military.
I'm just saying that he's
the operationals manager, right?
I understand that.
And so when you want a military, you have recruitment going up, you have war games going up, you have morale going up. You have, by the way, how about this? Do you agree that physical fitness standards for men and women should be the same in the U.S. military?
Yes.
Pete Hegseth is to thank for that. He has brought physical fitness standards to be the same for men and women. Lloyd Austin didn't do that. Mark Milley didn't do that. Do you also agree that we should not have transgender pronoun type policing of our military members on the front lines of combat?
See, the thing is
Pete Hegseth has gotten rid of all that, but I'm saying you're trying to make a contention that he's not qualified. Okay. The military is in a much better place thanks to him only after 100 days, man. And that's that is the weakest example of all the ones that you have in the cabinet. You didn't address Rubio, you didn't address Noem, you didn't address Bessent, you didn't address Lutnick, you didn't address Bobby Kennedy, you didn't address all these people. So I have to ask you a question.
I can continue addressing people.
But every one of these departments is in a substantially and an empirically better place than it was.
Okay, including the Department of Education that's been completely defunded, and somebody who literally
I'm so glad it's being defunded.
Okay, I bet you are, but guess what? Most Americans aren't, and that's the reality.
Wrong. Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah, just because you have a bunch of people here saying that doesn't mean that's the reality.
Let me prove it to you. Donald Trump ran on a pledge to get rid of the Department of Education. We can agree with that?
No,
yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. He won a popular vote. The vast majority of people voted knowing that the Department of Education was going to get eliminated.
If you truly believe that the vast majority of people were educated enough about the fact of Donald Trump's opinion on the
voters aren't very smart. Now that's what we're going after.
No, I'm simply just responding to what you said. What you said is
insult the voters. They don't know.
No, I know a lot of people that voted for Trump who had absolutely no idea that he was going to defund and of course, this is just an anecdote, but I know that this is the truth. Not everybody, when they vote, looks at every single little thing and every little aspect, like you and I might, of why we would vote for somebody. We're both political commentators.
Right. Fine. And as a political commentator, then I will argue more forcefully against you, because now you're not just like a college kid searching for this. Has education in America improved or gotten worse since the Department of Education was formed?
It has literally been 3 months. I have absolutely no idea.
Since the Department of Education was formed in the 70s. We now have 50 years of evidence. Has American education gotten better since we've had a Department of Education, or has it gotten worse?
I personally don't think that has to do with the Department of Education.
Well, when you've spent over $4.5 trillion with one federal department, and we have 30 schools in Chicago where a fifth grader cannot read at grade level. We have 35 schools in Baltimore where kids cannot do math or reading at grade level. We cannot find a single school, not a single school in downtown Detroit, where by the time they graduate high school in the heavily black areas that they're proficient in reading or math. We are now like 31st in the industrialized world of education. We spend more in education than almost any other country per capita, and yet our results are worse. Maybe it's because we've sent all this money to DC to overly centralize the way we educate, and the Department of Education has been a complete disaster. And so we can go anywhere you want with this discussion.
I'm just going to say one more thing about this and we can move on. And thank you for talking to me for this long. I really appreciate it. But you're talking about like people that are coming from poor backgrounds where education in their families is not like a part of the way that they're raised. Of course, they're going to be the ones that have a lower...
No, that's not correct. You see,
I highly doubt it.
The competing Catholic schools in the same area that do it for 2/3 less money, almost all the kids can read by the time they graduate middle school.
And where does that money come from?
Well, sometimes from charter schools, taxpayers, or from private donors. So take, for example, in downtown Chicago or downtown Philadelphia, the private Catholic school can educate a kid for around $12,000 a year. Philadelphia, it's about $30,000 a year, and none of the kids can read. So the local religious schools, they have kids that are less likely to be unruly, less likely to commit crimes. They're more likely to graduate high school and college. They can read and they could do math, and yet the local public school spends triple what the local Catholic school does, and they can't do any of that stuff. Why? Because a government-run program of education has been a failure in this country, and that's what President Trump is doing by abolishing the Department of Education.
Okay, so how, if there's no public, I'm not saying that the public education system is perfect. I'm saying that having... I think the privatization of public things in general is bad, and obviously that's a very...
Why would you say that? So, I mean that's just... we can go through the list of that, but...
Because it's not... Because getting rid of, for example, DEI, or getting rid of... And again, I'm not super pro-DEI.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in California. I'll put it that way.
I'll try to apply it to yours. So, like, where...
Okay, I grew up in one of the most expensive towns in California.
Okay, Montecito? I don't know, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, something like that. I don't want to talk because I'm a political commentator. I'm not saying my name, but I will tell you that seeing that we had three 82-inch TVs in my school for a public school when other kids in Compton had absolutely nothing, and I know a big part of that is because...
So why is that? It's property taxes, right? And so, yes, however, let's just get down to the core of it, which is that in San Diego, are the private schools or the public schools more desirable?
It's kind of complicated because we have charter schools that are public, we have like High Tech High. We have
people pay money to go to private school, right? For a reason. So what is our perspective? The money should follow the child. You should have school choice. You should be able to go to whatever the school of your choosing, and it works super well.
But the good private schools that you talk about these ones in Chicago with cherry-picked data. When we're talking about San Diego, they cost about $40,000 a year.
It's not cherry-picked data.
It is cherry-picked data. Talking about a single example of a Catholic school that's publicly funded or funded by donors.
There's hundreds of these examples.
Okay,
right?
Hundreds of these examples, but the reality is that the majority of them, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money in order to get into them.
Right. So then what per capita, per pupil in San Diego, what do you think they charge per student in the public school? Anywhere between $25,000 to $35,000.
I have no idea, and I don't think that it has anything to do with the debate we're having.
No, it has everything to do with it. And I'll just close with this. So there's 21 million people that work for the government in this country, 11 million education, 11 million in education. How many of the 11 million do you think are teachers?
I see, you're just coming up. Look.
No, it's super.
Can you repeat your question? Because I thought we were going to continue because we barely talked about anything I want to talk about.
Well, no, I mean we did freewheeling. That's what this is, right? So there's 11 million people that work in education in America. How many would you guess are teachers?
I'm assuming that it's very bloated, and I'm just going to guess that 2 million are teachers.
Yeah, it's about 2 to 3. It's like 3.5 to 4 million. So that means that 7 million people that work in education are unnecessary administrators and paper pushers. And why is that important? Because we've not been funding teachers or education the last 30 years. We've been funding unnecessarily bureaucracy in our education the last 30 or 40 years. And President Trump goes to abolish it. Thank you for your time. I got to get to the next question. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. My name's Ellie. Overall, just to go into my question, I am conservative. So going into this, I was like, what should I ask you about? I think overall, I was going through different policies, and in general, I agree. Ultimately, I think the topic of my question is how to approach politics in school and in general with this function. I've found that a lot of times when I talk to people who are on the other side of me, they are surprised to find out what I think and my ideas are not that crazy. It's like when you actually get into the meat of it, it's like, oh, actually, maybe it does make sense. And so I think it's really valuable to start giving these ideas to the world. And so this is one of these options. But I guess my question is this the best way? Because when I hear, like, for example, on Reddit, they're like, don't approach him, don't do this, he's just doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's using all these tactics. And so I wonder if you've considered, not to say that this is a bad way to go about it, but if there's maybe a slightly better way. Because I think what you're saying has a lot of value in this world, but it's like in this school specifically, it is thought of as evil and as like not like a valid way to think.
That's a UC San Diego problem, not a Charlie Kirk problem, right?
No, and it's not, and it's not to say it's a problem of you. No.
And I meaning, like, I read there was some op-ed journalists where they said ignore Charlie, ignore him. Well, what they're saying is that they are not either smart enough or they're not intellectually mature enough to have a discussion with a conservative on any issue. I have literally almost no notes. I have like a couple charts to show you if the topics come up. You guys can use AI, you guys can use Grok, you could do whatever you want. You could bring a professor, you could bring 5 of your top libs together, debate me, right?
Yeah.
Other side? Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. And you guys can debate me at any time. I fail to understand why, well, actually I know the reason. Speech is not a left-wing value. And they do not believe in freedom of speech, they believe in totalitarian control. There are exceptions to that. So if they have a problem, I think this is one of the best ways, not the best way. I literally could not be more open to disagreement. I say if you disagree, you go to the front of the line.
Yeah.
And I mean, how often do you as conservatives get a chance to challenge liberals on campus, right? And being welcomed, ever?
Oh, absolutely, almost never. Definitely
because
not in
speech
class.
is not a left-wing value.
No, but to say that, I mean, with all of that being said, it is very true. But ultimately, what happens here is I see a lot of, like, the ideas just being like bubbled against. And so like when I talk to my friends, their ideas aren't changed from these conversations. And so I wonder if there's just like
You would be surprised. I'm sorry to interrupt. Mm-hmm. What happens here gets seen hundreds of millions of times on social media.
Absolutely, yes.
The crowds are growing. And so look, some people are going to remain closed-minded. They're not going to, have their horizons open, but that's on them, right? They have to actually want to pursue the truth and not just have their own worldview confirmed.
And then I guess that's where I disagree, because I think fundamentally there is truth within anything, and I believe that maybe I would ask you like to see that like you have a big role in this. You have a big fan base and a big media base that you are making incredible change, and to take it just one step further would be really trying to push the narrative against this being like a place where people are just like debating. It's more than that.
What would you like to see?
I guess maybe it's more of a question. I guess, I don't know, moving forward, like trying to maybe to see that like instead of using these really fast tactics and to really like try to bring it down, not to say someone is, not to say that they're, no.
I disagree with all that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking way too much about libs on Reddit. I care about normal people, so.
No,
yeah.
But
I mean, you did bring up Reddit. I'm sorry. You're like.
No, I guess that's true. No, and I guess
so
maybe
these people are not well socially adjusted, right? I talk to the 90% of the American people that actually want to make something of their life and have kids and.
No, and I couldn't agree more with that like stance. I guess maybe stepping away from Reddit, it's to me the people on this campus. This is a school I go to, and almost everyone I'm surrounded with has a completely different view from me, and
Not everybody.
No, and this is like, but this like the people here, to find them, it feels like you're like sifting through a needle in a haystack.
You want a hat?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Disagreements, come to the front of the line. Yes.
So I have a couple points that I want to talk about in illegal immigration. Is it okay if I say all of them with no interruption? Okay, cool. So first, illegal immigrants power our economy. They're 50% of U.S. farm workers, harvesting the food on our tables, and fill 70% of construction jobs in states like Texas. They pay $13 billion annually in taxes, including $2 billion to Social Security that they can't claim. Deporting them would slash agricultural output by $60 billion and raise food prices by 6%. Why gut our farms and wallets when these workers fuel our prosperity? That's my first point. Second point, they strengthen our communities with lower crime rates. So in Texas, undocumented immigrants have a 26 lower percent homicide conviction rates. So, which is 2.2 per 100,000 versus 3 for native-born citizens. Nationally, immigrants are incarcerated at half the rate of native-born, where it's 0.85% versus 1.71%. That's according to Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2019. So if safety is your goal, why deport people who make our streets safer? This is my third point. Mass deportation tears apart American families. Over 4.4 million U.S. citizens, children have an undocumented parent, and in Texas, 1 in 7 kids lives in a mixed status household. Okay, this is my fourth point. Deportation is a fiscal nightmare. Removing 11 million people would cost 315 to 400 billion, more than the entire Homeland Security budget, and shrink our GDP by 1.7 trillion over 10 years. And this is my last point. Our immigration system is broken, pushing people to cross illegally. Visa waits Mexicans can exceed 20 years, and the asylum blockage is 1.3 million cases, with hearings 4 to 6 years out. Okay.
You done?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, so without looking at the phone, look at me. What
Sure.
should the penalty be for breaking into America?
I think there should be a system where it's more merit-based. So if this person
No, penalty. So what is the penalty? So what should happen to you?
Felony. It's not a felony. It's a misdemeanor.
No, it is.
So
That's not true. It's 8 U.S.C.
it's a
1312. You can
misdemeanor.
look it up right now.
It's a felony if it's done twice. If you try to cross
it's
the
not
border,
correct.
that is correct.
That is not correct.
I googled it, dude.
To illegally go across the southern border with the well intent to come into harbor yourself into the interior of the United States, the violation of 8 U.S.C. 1312,
Okay.
which is a felony in the federal criminal code. Now, it can be enforced as a misdemeanor, or it can
Yeah.
be upwards to 5 years in prison. Now, I want to know, since it's a felony, law in the
Sure.
books, 8 U.S.C. 1312,
Yeah.
what should the penalty be?
Well, in my opinion, these kinds of laws are usually they're what do you call it? They're sorry. Usually the sorry. Wait, sorry. Can I check my phone real quick? I apologize. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
What should the penalty be
Okay.
for someone that breaks or comes into America illegally? What should the penalty be?
I think there should be a merit system where the people. Okay, the
Not
penalty.
answer.
All right, let's.
That's
the penalty.
not the answer. It's a very simple moral
Okay.
and legal question.
Okay,
What
sure.
should the penalty be if you come into America illegally?
Okay, so since it's a misdemeanor, not a felony, misdemeanors
I
are.
just told you it's
true,
not 8.
dude.
You can look up on
That's
your
not
chat
true.
GPT what is
Yeah,
8
yeah.
USC. Look up what is 8 USC 1312.
No, I know. I've already looked it up.
Yes,
When it's your second time crossing the border illegally, then it becomes a felony.
it can be, and it is enforced as a felony, and it usually is done as a misdemeanor citation because no one has the stones to do 20 million felony applications.
Okay.
So I just want to ask,
Yeah.
what should the penalty be then for someone that comes into this country illegally?
Usually there's 3 ways that go about this when there's a penalty. There's either like a fine, or there's some kind of public service that this person does, or you send them back. But
Send them back. I agree. That's what we should do.
Okay. So this is interesting. So one of the statistics that I read said that illegal immigrants don't cause as much they don't break the law as often as people who are native born.
Well, hold on, time out.
That is a statistic.
But
time out.
But
dude.
every single one of them are
not time
criminals.
out.
They're all criminals.
Okay, sure. By law.
Well, hold
by
on.
law.
No,
okay, by law. Of course they are.
Wait, so
I
if
agree that they're-
if they commit less crime and they're all criminals, wait a
Okay,
second.
so
By
you're basing it-
definition,
yeah.
they all have broken the law by being here, and they break
Okay.
the law every day by staying here because you're
Okay.
actually not allowed to stay here either. Do you know that?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
every
yeah.
day you're here, you're actually continually breaking the law. You can't break in or harbor. That's what the federal law says.
Okay.
So by breaking in, it's not just the only law they broke. Every second you remain here, you're also
Yeah.
breaking the law. So that statistic is invalidated by just them breathing here. They're breaking the law.
No, of course not. Of course not. So of course it makes sense for them when they're here. They're breaking the law because they're illegal immigrants, obviously. But once they're of course. So once they're here, once they are here, what kind of harm are they actually doing? When you look at the numbers statistically,
lot.
No, that's not true. Okay,
Black
so look,
wages have
in
gone
Texas,
down.
Okay, in Texas,
DUIs have gone up dramatically.
Try not to interrupt, bro.
Well,
okay,
hold
so
on. I'm interjecting, and I let you go uninterrupted with your whole soliloquy,
true,
right?
yeah, thank you.
So let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
So, if it is correct
Yeah.
that illegal aliens commit less crimes, which of course it's not correct.
That is correct. Look
No,
it up. In
but
Texas, they made a study in 2019. 26% are
is
lower.
any crime? It's just not correct. But I'm
That
not
is
going to debate that.
correct.
It's I just proved it at its face because they commit a crime by being here every day. That is a crime.
Okay, once they are here, what kind of crimes are they committing? Which is
Okay. Well,
they're 26%.
okay. Do you know the name
less.
Laken Riley?
No, educate me.
Oh, you don't.
No.
Do you know? Wow. Do you know the name Rachel Morin?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Educate
Okay.
me. What
So
kind of...
Laken Riley was a girl at the University of Georgia.
Okay.
There was a peeping Tommy, illegal alien, that was deported 5 times prior, and Biden kept on letting him back in. He hunted her down, raped her, sodomized her, and murdered her on a hiking trail, University of Georgia.
Okay,
Rachel,
so one person doesn't represent
hold
all
on a
illegal
second.
immigrants.
Every person who is killed by an illegal alien is one that should not happen. Every single one.
Of course, and also the ones that are
and
native born.
everyone.
As
And
well
so
as the
that's the
ones who are
point.
native born.
Is that it's not a
As
matter
well
of
as
the
people who are
rate.
native born.
The rate, even if I accept your premise, which is incorrect, the rate is irrelevant. The number is what's relevant. There should be 0 illegal aliens. There should be 0 Americans being
Okay.
killed by illegals.
So, okay.
Not to mention there's 6 other problems with the illegal aliens. They steal Social Security numbers. They depress wages. They are heavily involved.
true.
By the way, not to mention, a lot of people that cross on the southern border are also smuggling girls, weapons, and drugs alongside the southern border when they come. It's the largest slavery operation in American history that many illegal aliens help make possible on the southern border. And I guess the final question I'll have is, should a government serve its citizens first and foremost?
Yeah, of course. Well, okay, there's been many people who are like very political leaders who have said that this place is built off of immigrants.
Oh, is it? Wait, hold on. Let's think about that.
Sure.
First of all, it's legal, not illegal. But was America founded by immigrants or settlers?
Settlers.
That's not an immigrant.
Yeah. Okay.
An
Well, that's not
immigrant
my
is-
point. My point is
You
that
just
people
brought
who,
up the nation built by immigrants.
Yeah,
We're actually not.
because the political leaders have said that this place is built
Yeah, and they're
from
wrong.
immigrants.
I
They're
mean,
wrong. Political
yes.
leaders are wrong. George W.
Yes.
Bush is wrong. All these political
Yes.
leaders who have built
yes.
America is
By the way,
wrong.
the first person to say that was
How is that wrong? When illegal
'cause
immigrants make, they grow the economy.
Okay,
Statistically,
allow me
studies.
Allow me to build it out for you.
Sure.
Immigrants have helped at times in American history, but we are first and foremost a nation founded by settlers. Immigrants come to a country already built. Settlers come to a barren place and build something new.
Right.
This land was barren when people came. In the 1840s gold rush, this was not an easy place to live.
Yeah.
California was not exactly industrialized. There was not immigrants coming west to California. Those were settlers building a new place around, Western values. Finally, I would just ask the question, do you see a moral distinction between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant?
Well, the argument is that they're cutting in line. Like their argument is that they're cutting in line in the 20-year process that it would take for someone to cross here legally.
It's not 20, but yeah.
At most it's 20. At most it's 20. Right now there's around like 1.2 million people who are currently waiting. That would take 6 to 7 years for a hearing.
And by the way, no one has a right to come to this country,
Of
just
course,
to be
wait,
clear.
let me stay
And-
on track of what I was gonna say. Okay, so people who come here usually, almost all the time when they come here, they benefit society. They benefit society. There's studies that have done this.
Not
There's
necessarily.
okay, not necessarily, but overall in general.
But no,
when you look overall
I
in general, you look at the
fundamentally
statistics.
disagree with that.
You can't
I mean,
disagree with a fact.
Hold on.
It's-
Do you think Elon Omar has enriched the United States of America?
I don't know who
Do you
that
think
is.
Rashida Tlaib?
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could go through person
Wait,
by
are
person
these,
by person.
Sorry, I don't know these people. Are these people who have are illegal immigrants that have caused harm?
Yeah, if you don't know, I don't mean to pick on you. It's fine.
Okay,
But I
thanks.
guess the final question is,
Sure.
do you have any concern that there are too many people coming into this country and we're a nation of strangers, not a nation of neighbors?
If the people who are coming are creating America, making it more growing, like the economy is growing, then what harm is that doing? Especially if the people
because
who
we're
are
more
coming are
than an
not.
economy, though, aren't we? We're a culture. We're a language.
Yeah,
we're
of course.
People.
Okay, so let's talk about that front. When they come here, they don't have any kind of. They're not committing as more crimes than the people who are already here. That is a
Again,
statistic
we've already
done.
dispelled that. But
That
do
is not- you can't
in
dispel a
California,
statistic.
Let's
What are
take
you talking
California.
about? You can't-
Do you think there's anything wrong that a
What?
majority of young people in California speak Spanish, not English?
Wait, sorry. Can you see the?
Do you think there's anything wrong or troubling to the fact that a majority of people under the age of 30 here in this state speak Spanish, not English? Is there a problem with that?
Well, yeah, everyone should be able to have a ability to communicate with the rest of the crowd. So I don't know what the big issue of that
See, I think
is.
it's a huge problem when we have a nation where you can't communicate with your fellow
Okay,
neighbor.
simple solution. Teach them how to speak English. What is your
Yeah,
point?
and our schools don't do that, actually. And also, how about a better solution?
Yeah.
Don't import a bunch of people that don't speak English.
You mean importing people who actually grow
Actually,
the economy,
well, but,
who
again,
don't...
reject.
What?
I reject your premise. We
That's
are more
not
than
a premise. That's a study that's been done.
Do you know what a premise is? I don't actually care as much about economic growth because we're one nation under. We're one nation under GDP. We're not one nation under GDP. We're a nation under God.
Yeah.
And when we lose social cohesion, and you import a bunch of people that don't share our values, that don't necessarily always assimilate, that's a major and serious problem. And we are a people first and foremost with a creed, and that creed is falling apart. Mass migration has not helped that creed. Yes, they might buy more trinkets. They might help depress wages. Mass migration, of course, can help.
All good things, all great things for America that needs.
Well, they help major corporations, but you know what they also do? They keep down the wages of working people. If you are a plumber, yes, of course. If you think about it, if you're a plumber, electrician, or a welder, and you have to compete against someone from Nicaragua who's willing to do it for $5 less an hour, that depresses the wages of the American citizen.
Right. Yeah. So there's been studies that done that also like counteract that. Illegal immigrants.
Well, let's use our reason.
Let's use our reason. Our studies.
Let's use our
how
reason.
about statistics?
How about our reason? So we've had mass migration for 20 years. Have wages gone up?
I don't know.
No, they haven't actually.
No, okay.
So forget your studies. For 10 years
Forget
we've
your
had
studies.
for 10 years we've had 30 million people come into America. Wages have gone down dramatically.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason why.
Okay. Okay.
So what I encourage you to do, just because there's a study that confirms, you should use your reason and look actually at self-evident truths. Be like, does that make sense? Can you name
Statistics are self-evident.
Well,
truths.
not always. Statistics
Not
are very
always?
misleading. Yes, like for example, I could say, did you know that 600 people a year die because of seatbelts? Well, that's a misleading statistic because over 100,000 lives are saved by seatbelts. That's an incomplete statistic.
Wait, okay, so where's the so that's a gray area. So where's the gray area where people are talking about where 26% of illegal immigrants who come here commit less crimes than native born?
Okay, we have how many times have you been over this? That's just not correct.
Well,
it's
that
not
is
true.
correct. That is correct.
Every single crime. It doesn't matter
this
about the
is a study
rate.
that was done in Texas, the most diverse,
Again,
second most diverse state.
Every crime an illegal commits is one that should never have happened.
Okay.
It is a period.
Yeah, of course,
they
of
should
course.
not be here. So
I
I don't
agree.
care about the rate. The rate is irrelevant. So let me just ask one final
The rate
question.
is relevant.
Someone broke into the country and cut in line. What should happen to them?
Well, they're given. Ideally, there's a system. Ideally, there's a system that's merit-based where these people then become part of the citizen. Like they become a legal citizen.
Yeah, I mean, we have clarity but not agreement. I say deport them all back to their country of
I don't
origin
think
and
that's
put
not
Americans
that's
first.
That's not an appropriate solution. When
Well, the
no.
American people voted for it, and it
Most
is appropriate.
People, it isn't appropriate because most of the people that do come here illegally contribute positively to
Again,
society.
they-
Not again,
they are-
dude. Statistically,
I have
everything
been
backs
through-
this.
You're not
Everything
listening to
backs
anything I'm saying, and that's fine. They take jobs from Americans, they depress wages, they steal social security numbers, they commit a crime every single day that they're here, they flood our public schools, they flood our social services, they flood our hospitals, they are a burden on the taxpayer. They should go back and make their own country great again and apply and become a legal immigrant if they want to live here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question, yeah. Hi. Wow, that's aggressive.
All right.
Okay, jeez.
Perfect.
Get that guy a Valium or something. Xanax. Jeez.
We good? All right. Good morning. So I am conservative, but there is one thing that I did want to debate you on. So you say that college is a scam and that so many students go hundreds of thousands in debt and useless degrees. I completely agree with that. My question is, why is it on the institutions and colleges and not on the students, since we as conservatives always focus on personal responsibility? When a quick
That's a
Google
great
search
question. Yeah, it should also be on the students as well.
All right. Is there any thing about the universities and universities should be doing then, since it is a capitalist society and they are trying to get profits?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I don't know what the endowment is here, but I think that the endowment should be used to help repay kids' student loans that they scammed. I think the fact that Harvard is sitting on $55 billion, I think that we should take the endowment money from places like Harvard, Princeton, and Yale and help kids pay off their student loans because they've been so severely scammed by the system.
And what can students do? I mean, there's Google, there's tons of things that I think personal responsibility is a huge issue that a lot of students that I know are blaming it on the universities when they pick degrees that don't have much money or job opportunity or things like that. What should students be doing?
Say that again, sorry.
What should students be doing since it is a personal responsibility? And a lot of students are blaming the universities and colleges for tricking them when a quick Google search would suffice.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, again, that's why I don't think as many people should be going to college.
Yeah,
And so, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I'll sign your hat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, disagreements, you guys can come up. Yep. All right,
Second,
thank you very much.
hold
Next,
on.
thank you.
All right. One last thing. Anyone want this hat? Take that get off my campus.
No, I'll be here for another hour and a half. He's going to go and tell his friends, I own Charlie Kirk.
He probably is, man. He probably is. Hey,
You're eager beaver.
I am, man, because I have a midterm soon, but I wanted to talk to you real quick because honestly, man, I'm a moderate, so I disagree with you on a lot of issues, but I also agree with you on a lot of issues, and I'm so glad you've come to this campus, and so I want to say welcome to this campus, man. Welcome to this campus. Thank you for educating everybody. But one thing that we don't talk about often, especially as Republicans, and again, I'm a moderate. Sometimes this past election I was Republican, but we don't talk about social mobility a lot. We don't talk about like the debt to GDP ratio. Trump, his tax cuts and jobs plan, man, it's really like it's not decreasing our deficit at all. And we're at the highest rates we've ever been at since World War II. We're literally going to surpass, 100% debt to GDP ratio. And there's no plan, at least under the Obama plan, we were going to raise like $650 billion over the next 10 years, which I know isn't enough, but I mean, come on, we've got to do something about that. And like, what's the deal with that?
We need more spending cuts. I mean, we don't know yet what the plan is going to look like, but I hope we have spending cuts across the board. I mean, I agree with you. We need to balance our budget. It's a major threat to our country.
Well, the big thing is too, man. I mean, I'm an older student, right? I'm clearly not 19 anymore, or at least maybe you think so, but whatever. It took me a while to get here, man. It took me a while to get to college. I got on a med school shirt. I actually switched to economics because I hope I can get in rooms with guys like you one day and have these discussions. But look, man, it took me forever to get here. It took me forever to get to college. And the only reason that I'm here today is because I had to move from a Republican state to such a liberal state like California so that I could actually get an education because it was completely unaffordable. And we just don't address that. We just don't address it.
What state are you from?
I'm originally from Georgia. And I know it swings back and forth, but still, I mean, there's just no opportunities there, man. I mean, I tried my hardest my whole life, man. Believe me, I work and I work and I work and I pound and I save, but there are no opportunities,
I would just
man,
push back a little bit, though. I mean, a lot more people are leaving California than coming into California. Like
I understand but those are wealthy people that are leaving.
No, that's not true. No, a lot of working middle class people are leaving this state. The opportunities are in states like Texas and Arizona and Florida, and increasingly not here in this state.
But the opportunity for social mobility is here. I mean, for instance, for me to get to the first, for me to be in the first quartile of my income and to make it all the way up to the fifth, for me to be working my butt off, making a $40,000.
You're very unusual to say that because California has the highest housing prices in the country, the highest cost of living, the most homelessness. So you're very unusual to say that the social mobility is good here in California because it's not.
It's because people don't take advantage of it. But I mean, I came here specifically to take advantage of it because I can see the system here, and I mean, just saying, it works for people who actually use it. So I just think we should.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. All right. Yes. Is that a SpaceX shirt? Looks like it. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. Thank you for everything you do. You're one of the reasons I started going to the church this year. My first question is, with the population crisis going on, how can abortion not be justified when the baby will not be able to reproduce, such as a baby with Down syndrome? Defend your abortion stance if the result will be less humans in the following generation.
Okay, so are you asking me as a hypothetical, or can you restate that, please?
So with the population crisis going on,
Collapse, yeah.
Collapse, exactly. How can abortion not be justified when the baby, like such as someone who has Down syndrome, will not be able to reproduce for the following generation?
Oh yeah, I mean, look. Oh, you're talking about abortion for Down syndrome.
Or anyone
I mean,
who
look,
will not be
a
able
Down
to
syndrome
reproduce.
baby has dignity regardless of its capacity to not produce. If you find out that, I mean, do people that have infertility problems, do they not get human rights? Right? I mean, so if someone can't reproduce, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be allowed to live.
Got it. Next question is, with the rise in Bible sales and church attendance, as someone who didn't grow up with religion, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to welcome religion into their life and find their faith?
I love that question. Read your Bible every single day. Fight your flesh. Your flesh is going to want to do easy and immediate things like drink and go out and do stuff. Find difficult and hard stuff and aim. Find your aim as a man and point everything you can towards it. And spread the good news of God and Jesus Christ in every possible way that you can. And put Jesus first in everything that you do.
Awesome. Thank you. Can I shake your hand?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, man. God bless you. Yes, thank you. Got to sign one. Thank you. Who's up? Yeah. You guys already have one. These people. All right, here we go. Yes.
I don't. I don't believe that we could use Christianity as. I don't believe that we could use Christianity as a good moral basis for certain laws, considering that historically speaking, Christianity has committed many atrocities. I mean, the Christian Crusades killed many people, and they destroyed a lot of our written texts that didn't agree with Christian points, like, for example, the works of Sappho.
The works of what?
Sappho.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, anyways, I understand that this is Catholicism, but also the schools in Canada that abused many Native American people. I just don't see how we could argue that Christianity is the great moral authority that you're saying it is for making these laws when arguably they've done a lot of horrible things.
What moral code do you live by?
I'm a Buddhist, so I mean.
So it's all about yourself.
No, it's just about being. Well, I guess you could say that. But
I know, yeah, I know Buddhism. So let's play it out. What is the top accomplishment of a Buddhist?
I guess just to be a good person and.
No, to reach nirvana. You know that.
Well, yes, but not everyone can reach nirvana.
I know, but you want to
It's
try
not
to
possible.
ascend, right? And so it's all about yourself, all inward looking, right? To try to limit your touch with the outside world, that the outside world is dirty and it's kind of polluted.
I don't believe. As a Buddhist, that's not how I was taught, and I don't think it's fair for you to argue for Buddhism in that sense because
Oh no, that's
you're
what
not
Buddhism.
a Buddhist.
No, I know plenty about Buddhism. Like, so Buddhism, as it's written, is that the world is contaminated. We must remove ourselves from the world, and we're going to spiritually ascend ourselves by meditation.
But there's people who don't believe in that.
Well, then you don't believe in Buddhism. That's fine. It's okay.
Of Buddhism, and they believe in all different kinds of things.
Sure,
just
that's
as
fine.
there's different sects
So
of
can you-
Christianity. I'm just not in that sect.
Got it. So can you what moral way do you think society should live by? Not Christianity. So what way should we live by?
I think that it's not as much about morality as much as societal, and it's just societal needs. Like, for example, like abortion. We can't argue that, Christianity is the reason that we should not allow abortions when clearly there's both a medical and a societal need for abortion.
There's not a medical reason to kill babies, right? So that doesn't exist.
Okay,
But
I have one example for that. My mother had Vasoprevia, and they had offered her an abortion because birthing the baby would not only kill her And, like, if she went into labor because the placenta had split into many little veins and covered her birth canal, if she ever went into labor and my little brother at the time, if he had pushed on the birth canal to exit her, she would have died. Both her and her son would have died.
Did your
and
brother
she is
survive
our-
or no?
I want to continue with this point. So she was offered the opportunity for an abortion because not only was she the main breadwinner of her family, but she is also raising 2 kids as well already. The right to an abortion is possibly could have saved her life. She did end up surviving, but not. I don't think that we should limit the ability to get an abortion to other women in her
Wait,
situation.
hold on, time out. So your brother you know now.
Huh?
Is your brother survive or no?
Yes, he did.
Wait, so
but
aren't you glad your brother wasn't aborted? I mean, come on.
I don't.
What kind of argument is that?
I don't
Aren't you
think
glad your
that
brother's not dead?
It's not that. I'm glad that he wasn't aborted.
Yes,
but
so
I'm
that's
also,
so we're
like,
pro-life. That's what we want. We don't want your brother to be aborted. Imagine how
no,
many
it's-
millions other like him
yes,
are aborted.
but if my mom died,
She
in
didn't. It's not even a good argument.
Well, there's so many people that did.
No,
There's,
that's
like,
not correct. I said that earlier. It only happens a couple dozen times a year, and the baby could be delivered by C-section.
People with vasoprevia have a much higher rate of death than other women
Yes,
who are
this
pregnant.
happens
and that's,
maybe a couple hundred times a year, and there's 1.5 million abortions every single year. This
yes,
is on the
but
extreme of the
if
extreme.
we have to take away abortions, then we're taking away from everybody, even the people who have a medical need for abortion, where the baby is going to kill them if they come out.
Again, I can
There's-
grant you that, fine, we'll have those exceptions. Can we make abortion illegal for the other circumstances?
No, because
Oh, so
then-
maybe it's not about those circumstances.
No,
You're
it
just
is about
using
those,
it. Oh,
it is about
really?
those circumstances because when we take away those rights from everyone and we go into a hospital and there's an emergency need to remove a baby, then we have to prove that there's an actual emergency need instead of just it being an automatic right. Then doctors
You
aren't
don't
going
have
to
a
be
right
willing
to murder another human being.
It's not necessarily a right. It's
Is-
just
is
the
it a-
ability to
So
be
when
able,
your brother was in your mom's womb, was your brother a human being?
I mean, I don't want to argue that. I think that we could
No, it's
argue
a very,
about
it's
that
not an
for
argument,
a
it's a
long
question. When
time.
your
I don't
brother
think
was
it's
in
useful.
when your brother was in the womb, was it a human being?
I believe that on my moral compass, I believe that he was, but I don't think that my moral compass should dictate the medical needs
Got
and
it.
the
So what
societal
moral
needs
compass?
of others.
Fine. What moral compass should we use to write laws then?
Not necessarily a single one. I think that everyone's moral compass is different,
Well,
and
which
that
one
we should
wins?
be able to.
Which one should say, let's for
The
example,
one that supports women the most, the one that
by
allows
what
women
standard
to get
though?
medical.
Why is that? Why is that good? I mean, by what book do you reference? By some moral standard you're appealing to. What is it?
Sorry, what?
No, yeah. By what moral standard do you say that we should have health care for women? Why? What? At some point, you're basing this on something. What is it?
I think that it's not even a moral standard. It's in
It
the
is. Oh.
Constitution. Women should have equal rights, and that includes the right to.
You do not have a right to
choice.
murder another because life is the first right. We've been through that. But I'm saying, but at some point you say you don't want Christianity to have the moral source. So I ask you, by what moral code should we live by?
Well, I don't think there's a defining moral code that we should live by. We all
Of course
have
there is.
different-
Should we help the sick?
Well, yes,
we help
but
the poor?
there's okay, but my
Should
moral
we
code
feed the
as
hungry?
a Buddhist is that I should never kill an animal. And many Christians hunt. Many people, kill animals for a living. That's how
I'm
they
not
make
talking
a
about your
living.
personal. Society has to make decisions, right?
Yeah,
So-
and when society makes decisions, they should account for the fact that everyone has a different moral compass.
but then-
if
but
we're
then-
a society that, first of all, a modern society, we shouldn't be basing our moral compass
Oh,
off
but hold on
of
a
a
second.
book
You're
made thousands of years ago.
well, first of all, Buddhism's very old too. But contradicting.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
That's why I don't think Buddhism.
but
I don't think we should ban people
there's a
going out to
contradiction
hunt
here, though.
because
Time
I
out.
don't believe in killing
At
animals.
some point, we have to decide what laws to make. We have to say something.
and I think the laws should be dependent on
on what?
how we can most benefit the people already existing in our society.
Well, okay,
Or-
but don't people in the womb exist?
That's you could argue that for so long. I don't think it's really useful when
It's
we're
very
talking
useful.
about.
Are you glad you weren't aborted? Are you glad you weren't aborted?
I'm not. I mean, if it was something that if aborting me would have benefited my mother far more than having me would have, then I wouldn't be necessarily angry about it. You know, like, it's not.
See, I'm glad your mom did not abort you because I think life is beautiful. And I want to give that gift to as many people as possible.
Yeah, but you're also in the same turn taking that gift away from women. If a woman has a medical need and her life is in danger,
I've already
for
granted.
having this
Let's say
baby.
abortion is legal for medical circumstances. 1.4
Okay,
million.
but then when we get rid of abortion for those exceptions, right, we need to think about how it is applied in the actual.
Abortion is the #1 form of birth control in the country right now. Over 1.4 million abortions every single year for non-rape, non-incest, non-life of the mother.
It's really the #1 form of birth control in this country.
Well, that we know of.
highly doubt
Actually,
that.
if you think
I'm
about
sorry,
it, if you
that's
think
crazy.
about the day after pill.
That's crazy.
Right? If you think about the
People
day
are spending
after pill.
$50 for a abortion instead of, like, you know, the pull-out method, getting a condom. You really think? I'm
Hold on.
sorry, in your twisted worldview, you really
Hold
think
on, let's
the
think about
#1
it.
form
Plan
of birth
B.
control is abortion?
Plan B.
I'm sorry, that's crazy.
No, Plan B, right? Abortifacients, at-home abortions, chemical abortions, surgical abortions. All those can be defined as abortifacients. Yes, you might be right. Okay, you might say condoms are more than that, but abortion has become a form of birth control. Can you agree with that?
I mean, anything that, well, all of it, obviously, anything can be considered birth control. I mean, me deciding to not have sex is birth control. I mean,
And that's what more people should do.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't think that that's necessarily something that we can police. Like, what, you're going to go into people's
I'm
bedrooms
not
and,
policing,
like,
but I'm saying, though, if you're going to decide to have sex, don't kill the baby after you have sex. Pretty
Well,
simple.
I don't
Because you
think
made a
that-
decision to get pregnant.
I don't think that that's necessarily a good argument. I mean, there's more nuance to that.
There's no nuance to it. A human life exists. I can't murder someone in the crowd. Why? Because murder is wrong. You can't murder someone in a womb. Why? Because murder is wrong. Thank you for your time. Yes.
Okay, hi. So I understand that you're fundamentally against immigrant workers, illegal immigrant workers. That's true, right?
Yeah, they should all be deported back to their country of origin.
So what do you think is the best policy for keeping out illegal immigrants?
Well, we already know. First of all, do you know that border crossings have gone down 99.99%? Thank you, President Trump, for securing the southern border. So we know it. And finally, there has to be a much greater penalty for visa overstays and for people that come here legally and overstay their green card or their temporary work visa.
Do you think there should be a greater penalization for those who employ immigrants, illegal immigrants?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.